my goodness. It's Monday. It's Monday and I have energy. It's really weird. Hope you had a great weekend. Oh, Instagram, good morning to you. So much to talk about. Winter tires in summer. Definitely talking about that because I said I would. What else are we going to talk about? I don't know. We'll see where it goes. JD's on vacation. I may or may not have support in the chat, but you know what? We'll make it work. We will make it work. Hello and good morning. It is the 26th, I believe. Yes, I believe it is the 26th of June, which means June is almost done. Wow, so quick. And that just means we're closer to winter, right? Okay. Good morning to that nerd dad and Leo wife and Akela Draconis and AJ the Awesome and Stephen Bell. Good to see you on the YouTube side of things. We have all sorts of people jumping into the TikTok side. There's a discussion as to whether or not, well, it's a discussion as to who is the first person in the TikTok chat. And you know what? It doesn't matter who is first. The fact is you're here, and we appreciate you. This is that show on the internet where you ask traffic and police questions, and I usually answer them. Where can you find us? Well, we're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter. But if you're on Twitter, we can't actually hear from you. So go to trafficcop.ca where you can jump onto any one of our other social media platforms that allow us to hear you or read you, and they will actually answer you because if you're typing in Twitter, you're talking to yourself. I put up a question on TikTok. Nobody else has seen it yet, but that's why I bring it up for everybody else. Left and right. If you are going to look, we always tell you, look left and right before you cross the road. And it's different in different countries, which I found out recently. Does anyone want to jump out and say why? Or maybe better yet, go interact with that video when you have time, because I think there's a lot of people who don't realize why we looked left and right, because I've seen people look right then left, and it's not exactly a good idea. But that could be as a result of being from somewhere else. Maybe. Let's see here. Greetings and salutations from Michael, who says he hears thunder again. We have, and I assume my wife, who is on both platforms, is helping to transfer questions from TikTok, and I appreciate that very much. For anyone who doesn't know how this works, if you are on, well, let's see. If you're on, let's use that nerd dad, who if you don't already follow him, you need to. Not just because he had Brittlestar on a recent episode, because he had me on an episode, because he's a good guy. But I can put those questions on screen because they came through on the main board. TikTok, however, requires someone to cut and paste it. That person is my wife, who's helping me out from home, and I appreciate it. Normally, we have a producer who is on vacation because they let him out of his cage occasionally. And if he's watching from home, which he probably isn't, he's probably like golfing or something. Having more fun being elsewhere, but that's okay. Okay, let's talk about some of the things we have to talk about, and then we're going to get in here. And I'm flagging these questions because there's questions on. Good morning, Chris. We've got questions on U-turns and questions on for tips for new drivers. Again, we are going to talk later on about driving in the summer with winter tires. Major issue for me. I see them on the road all the time. In fact, I challenge you, pay attention to what people are driving. When you see those steel rims and you notice that they are not, the normal tire that you'd see for this weather, what do you think happens when that happens? Not a good thing. We'll talk more about that, I bet. But first, a word from our sponsor. I think that's what I'm going to use to refer to Vision Zero enforcement team from now on, even though they're technically not a sponsor. They're just colleagues making good work happen. And what is that good work? Well, they are out in the community in different areas. They're changing driver behavior one ticket at a time. That's right. They are issuing tickets in high crash zones because they're trying to change driver behavior to make the road safer for everyone, regardless if you're driving, walking, riding, just living there. Because guess what? Even if you're at home, risk is you're at risk. Why? I had 2 cars drive into my house when I was a kid. Drove into my house, inside. Happens all the time. So traffic safety involves the traffic that leaves the road too. So that's a big deal. Vision Zero is a concept that if we can change a number of things, we can make roads safer. We can reduce serious injuries and death to zero, because that's a goal that we should have, right? There's no acceptable number of people to die, especially if we put that filter on and make them, consider it from the perspective of what if they were all your family? So the goal is zero, and we're working every day towards that. Today, the Vision Zero enforcement team officers are focused on 14 Division and 33 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, York Mills, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play. It's not just those neighborhoods. Those are just the examples that I had hashtags for. If you've got a neighborhood that I've not included that's in the divisional boundaries of 14 and 33, send me a message, tweet, add it. I will put you in the mix, because we want to let people know when we're there. We want to announce it to the people who live there, that care about those communities. And when we hashtag it, people who follow those communities are notified, which is cool. Okay, I've talked about Vision Zero. Check. We're going to talk about a number of things, including careers, because we're hiring. We're going to talk about the voiceover cop, which is what I go by on social media. I have a link tree, which you can get to by going to Traffic Cop, or actually you can go to by going to voiceovercop.com or .ca as well. The reason I bring it up is I have all sorts of useful links, and I want to share those links with you. I want you to get all the best information and have access to all the stuff that's important to make your life easier, like renewing your license plate, which is free for most vehicles, but really important to do. And if you don't do it, you get tickets. And we don't want you to get tickets. I mean, this is not about getting tickets issued. It's about keeping people safe and making sure that people follow the rules. So if you follow the rules because you know what they are and you know how to get the easy, is it the shortcuts to passing these tests, to making sure you do the right thing? We're also going to be talking about it's HarleyRaffle.ca. Where you could win a brand new Harley Davidson by supporting Special Olympics Ontario. We'll talk about that a little bit. Maybe we'll dip into Discord, but I don't know if that's something we have to do right now. All right. Enough of this. Let's get into a question or two, because that is what somebody's waiting for. Now, the first question that I received was a blanket question of any tips to keep in mind for new drivers. Here's a good one, because we could talk about this all day. There's full courses and course load based on tips for new drivers. We call it driver training. But here's one that probably is less obvious when taking a course, and that is pay attention. And I don't mean pay attention like stare without blinking out the front windshield of your vehicle, but don't do anything other than driving while driving. We're all, interested in what our conversations are with people in the car, at home, on speakerphone conversations. We're listening to music and daydreaming about what's going to happen at the exciting thing we're going to arrive to. The problem is that that's distraction, and it may not be distracted driving as the law suggests or requires it to be delay a charge, but it is a distraction. It's a form, and anything other than the active navigation of that motor vehicle, safely driving, is a distraction. And the largest contributor to collisions these days is distraction in one form or another. That could even be daydreaming. And I don't think people really understand the fact that we're not multitaskers. You cannot walk and chew gum effectively. We switch between things very, very quickly, but we don't do things simultaneously. It's really a myth. And that's something that I think is a good tip. What other tips can we give? Other tips for driving. We're going to limit it to one. That is a tip for new drivers. Maybe we'll have another one tomorrow. If I can think of a clear, concise message to share shortly, we'll revisit it. I'm going to leave it flagged, and we'll come back to it. Rules on U-turns. That is a good one. U-turns are legal unless unsafe to do so or prohibited by sign or location. So I'll give you some examples of locations you cannot do U-turns. You can't do a U-turn at a crest of grade where there's no visibility, a curve with no visibility, I think it's 150 meters in front of a bridge, viaduct, or tunnel. Railway crossings, depending on visibility, it's 30 or 150 meters. At the end of the day, when you are making a U-turn, you're responsible for everything that happens. And I've had driving instructors tell me it's not unsafe, but guess what? It is unsafe. You know why? People have died during U-turns. People have died not because of the U-turn, but because of the car that they cut off while making the U-turn. Listen, when things are safe, they're safe. And if you don't do it properly, you don't take sufficient precautions, bad things happen. And you have to know that you're going to be responsible for everything that happens if you're the person making the U-turn, even if you get hit by someone else. We've had police officers die because of U-turns and because of not necessarily making them, but because someone made a U-turn right in front of them. So there you go. Hey, maybe this is another new driver tip. U-turn's bad. I'd much rather see people make multi-point turns off in a parking lot or turning off or going around the block than making a U-turn. Even if it's a 30-point turn, it's still more dangerous than other options. Oh, hey, look at that. So AJ the Awesome got a cracked rib, but it's a blessing in disguise because now they're here on time. I appreciate that. Good morning, and a wet morning at that from the Grinch. We've got it's good to see a Twitch. Actually, the Grinch switches back and forth between Twitch and Kick. And which brings me to, are you using Kick? Does anyone use Kick? Are you liking Kick? Do you dislike Kick? Let me know what you think of Kick, because we started broadcasting on Kick because we can. So why not? But if you like it a lot, let us know, because we're curious. It's still a new platform for us, and still very much something I'm learning about, trying to understand it. But there's a lot of team building exercises on Kick. Everybody wants to help followers grow, so it's kind of cool. I think we have 2 followers. It's very exciting. I don't know how many Kick followers are right now. Let's see. How many people are on Kick? I don't get stats from Kick. Okay, I don't know. We've got people on Twitch. We've got people on YouTube. Nobody on Facebook, as it turns out. Can't see who is watching on Twitter, and I know there's a lot. And just a reminder for anyone watching on Twitter, we can't hear you. If you want to jump over to ask a question, please do. You can go to trafficcop.ca for all of the links to all of our channels, and then you can come and ask questions and participate, be part of the party. All right, we have Sean Chen says good morning. Actually, he said hi with multiple eyes, so I know he's serious. Okay, what are the penalties for not having a plate on a car driving on roads? An unplated vehicle? Does that mean it's not on the car or it's not registered? Because there's different ways to interpret that question. So the deal is this: if you're not displaying the plates that are issued to you, whether it's because you're only displaying one of 2 or none, it's a $110 fine at the very least. $110, and it's a real ticket, and it's not fun to get. Some may say it is. I would disagree, because any ticket can impact your license and your insurance. A lot of people say, well, it's not a moving violation. How can it affect? It's a minor ticket, and you have multiple minor tickets. The insurance company can choose to determine maybe you're just not responsible, and that goes, because they say how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're not, following the rules for license plates, maybe you're not following the rules for other stuff too. So you're identifying yourself as a person of higher risk. Okay, if you have an unplated vehicle, that's a little more serious because it's not registered. Chances are it's not insured. So I'd need to know more. And the penalties, flat out, there's the financial penalty, but they can be escalated in court. It could be. And if it's something you continuously do, you could be summoned to court, where it's not a ticket. You actually have to go to court and explain yourself. Okay, I finished police foundations. Any other tips to become a cop quick? I will say applying is probably the most important tip. Ensuring that you can pass all the physical, mental, academic, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There is no become a cop quick solution, in my opinion. Everything is a process, and you must approach it knowing that it could take 6 months. You can't speed up a background process. Now, things on occasion go quickly because you are just coming up to a class, and they have spots, and they got to sell those spots. Essentially, they got to fill them. Don't use them, you lose them. So apply when you're ready to apply, and then do everything you can to be the best candidate you can, so you can do well in your interviews. Prepare, and stay out of trouble. But what else? What else would you like to know? Because to me, there's no get rich quick scheme that works. There's no become a police officer quick scheme that works, in my opinion. But if somebody has things that work, let me know. I would happily discuss it. Things you've heard about, rumor mill stuff. Happy to go there. Okay. Might as well go here and take a quick moment to talk about Harleys, because I like Harleys. You could be the proud owner of a motorcycle with a Harley-Davidson logo on it. It's actually a Harley-Davidson. It's not just a sticker. We are raffling off, or at least the Special Olympics Ontario folks are raffling off a bike, and we are supporting them because we love them, and we want good things for good people, and they are good people. 1 ticket for 20, 3 tickets for 50, 8 tickets, and the best deal, 8 tickets for $100. That's what I bought. So if I win the bike, I win the bike. And if you don't want to try and stop me from winning the bike, well, then I guess you won't buy a ticket. I'm okay with nobody else buying it because the odds go up for me. I think it's 7,000 or 75. How many is it? Let me click on here. Winners FAQ. Does it scroll down? I think it was here once upon a time. No. Winners, not winners. FAQ. How many tickets? The bike is valued at $31,198. No kidding. How many tickets? How many? I don't see it. There was once upon a time a very clearly, I think it's 7,000 or 7,500, something like that. Anyway, we'll see if I can find it somewhere else, because scanning quickly is not working for me right now. If you found it, let me know. And I turn this off. But what a great way to not only be a good human being by supporting great people in a great organization, but also you might win a Harley. And I know someone who's won. I mean, I've heard the names, but I personally know someone who currently has a very shiny black motorcycle in their garage as a result of having paid for tickets and supported this charity. We have Ethan Kane on Instagram who asks, what are the rules when driving with a G1 driver? What are the rules? If you're the supervising driver, is that the question? I'll assume you want to know what you have to have as a G-class driver to supervise a G1 driver. If that's not what you're asking, please let me know. So first off, if you are a G1 driver, if you're supervising a G1 driver, you must have 4 years experience. And that means that you must have 4 years that has elapsed from the time that you got your G2. So you could have 2 years as a G2 and 2 years as a G and have 4 dots on your license as a result, because those 4 dots denote the fact that you've passed all the qualifications, you've recognized that time. It's possible that if you just went over the 4 years, you may not have been recognized on your license. The dots wouldn't appear magically once you've hit that time and date. But 4 years, and it doesn't include any suspensions or delays or breaks in your license. So it's important to know, if you are questioning whether or not you have enough time, check with the ministry before you do it. Second thing is, you must have a blood alcohol content under 0.05. You must be sober or legal to drive yourself. You cannot have a G1 driver be your DD, your designated driver, your sober driver. Not possible, not allowed. And in terms of what else, well, you can be the only other person in the front seat. Nobody else can be between you. If you meet those things, then you can supervise. And are you responsible for what happens if they choose to not listen to you and break the law? No. But you'd want to be in a position to give good advice. So if you're a bad driver, maybe don't supervise. Just saying. Neha says, more tips for new drivers. I'm scared to drive. Maybe what I'll do, and actually, you know what? This is exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to do an episode with my friend Scott Marshall. We're going to do some chats, and we're going to discuss some things. We're going to make an episode where he comes on, and we discuss that for you. Okay, sound like a good deal? That's what we're going to do. We're going to organize an event. I'm going to bring him in, and I think we're going to do it this week. He does a lot of things. He used to be the head instructor for Young Drivers of Canada. He is now with Truba Cars. I think I'm saying that correctly. But be on the lookout. We're going to promote it. I'm going to do it. I'm writing it down right now, and I'm going to call him after the show because I want this. I want this for you, and I want this for everyone who needs this. Tips for new drivers episode coming to an Ask a Traffic Cop real soon. I like it. It's great. I love it when a plan comes together, and this is how plans come together, when you ask for stuff. So thank you for asking. Thank you for voicing up or voicing out, saying what you want, because this is a show for you. I'm here for you. If you don't tell me what you need, if you don't ask me questions, we'll just talk about donuts. I always make it about donuts. I'm really not a donut person. Just saying. I mean, I look like a donut person, but I'm not. Hey, you know what I did today? I went to the gym this morning. I walked on a treadmill. I got sweaty. I walked with an incline. This is the first day of the gym for me. I've really, other than doing physiotherapy for years, where I, be on a bicycle. This is the first day at work where I'm doing gym stuff, and I want to do this every single day because I want to make a commitment and to be healthier and more energized and bring it to you here, when I'm got more energy and feeling better. But I also want to do it for my family. So this is important stuff. And by the way, my magical, most wonderful, spectacular, and amazing wife, who's helping out in the chat and turning multiple shades of red right now as I talk about her, she's awesome and an inspiration to me to try and be healthy. So let's move on. Now that I've said that, and I'll give her a second to recover. She hates when I talk about her online. Okay, talked about this. Oh, here's a great question as I sip water. Do bicycles have to stop at a four-way stop sign? Let's try this again. Do bicycles have to stop at a four-way stop sign if they are in a bike lane? I have to pause because I have to pause. Yes, bicycles are responsible for following the rules of the road. They must follow the rules of the road. They have to stop for red lights. They have to stop for stop signs. They have to signal their intention to change in direction or motion. They have to make legal and safe lane changes. They have to do all the things, save and except for speeding, because oddly enough, the HTA does not require them to not speed unless they're e-bike. Well, it gets complicated. But cyclists have to follow basically everything. They can get charged for careless driving. They can get charged for running stop signs. And I don't know why more of them don't follow the rules. But whenever I bring it up, the cycling community assures me that it's only a very few number of cyclists who don't follow the rules, and the majority do follow the rules. And I actually believe that. However, the ones who don't follow the rules, the ones who are dangerous, are the ones that everyone is upset with on a daily basis. They are the ones who represent the rest of the cycling community, who are made up of normal and nice people who commute. Cycling is a real commuter tool. It's a great way to get around. It's not just for exercise. I put out a video once and suggested that people do it for exercise, and that upset people. And I acknowledge, even though I may not say it in every episode or every time I discuss cycling, that it's a real way to get around, and it's good for the environment, it's good for health, and it's just better in general. And I won't do it because I drive far too far to do it. Otherwise, I would try and ride a bicycle. Who wants to pay for gas? I'd love not to pay for gas. How much do you pay for gas a week? If you drive, what do you throw it in the chat? I want to know how much you spend in gas. I spend about $150 a week. That's a lot of money. If I could ride a bicycle and save $150 a week, what would you spend $150 a week on? You could just do whatever you want with $150. That's serious. Okay. AJ the Awesome wants to know. I don't know if this was answered in previous streams or not. Is this an official Toronto Police stream, or is this a personal stream? It's very much an official stream. We are currently broadcasting on a number of channels, and depending on where you're coming in from, AJ, I can understand why it may look like it's personal. So I have a YouTube channel for VoiceOver Cop. It's an exact duplicate of the traffic services main one. So if you're coming in through that one, I would understand why you'd wonder if it was personal. But actually, everyone seems to be on the Toronto Police. The VoiceOver Cop stream it's really just there as a backup. But it is absolutely an official stream, and we do this while I'm at work because it's something that the Toronto Police believes in strongly, that we communicate and be available and engage with our community. This is all educational all the time, and I'm thankful that there is such a unanimous support, maybe is the word? No, maybe not unanimous, because I'm sure there's somebody who doesn't like it. But it's strong support from everyone that I've ever heard from. No, well, except the people who don't like us. And then when I hear from them, mind you, those are generally people who are told they can't speed or can't stunt drive. Different story. But it is official, and we had our previous chief on it quite a number of times, and I'm told that our new chief, actually the new chief told me that he would be coming out at some point. We're going to be doing some renovations. The set, the studio is going to move. We're going to go into a closed environment. Right now we're somewhat open, and there's a wall that I sort of constructed out of Lego filing cabinets. When people walk by, it's really noisy, and sometimes we have to remind people that we're live. So that will become a thing of the past when we actually move into a closed environment, which I'm really looking forward to. Currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course Twitter, which is a one-way valve. You can't talk to us, but we can No. Yeah, you can't talk to. We can't hear you. We can't see your questions, and we wish we could, because we are often hearing afterwards that there were questions and comments, and people wanted to know how to ask questions. And the way to ask questions is to jump onto any platform other than Twitter and ask us those questions, because we want to hear from you. We really do. This is a show all about you. So if you've got questions, we've got answers. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I work at traffic safety programs, and this is one of the things I do. People say, "How do you? Wow, this is tax dollars at work?" Yes, yes, it is, and it's doing a good job. Now, historically, we would get intense numbers, amazing numbers of people in our live chats. We would have on TikTok alone, we've had, the highest was 40,000 people in a chat live, averaging 2,500 people in the room at any given time. That's a little lower now. Algorithm shifted a while back, and now we have a much more manageable room, because it was just craziness when we were all that busy. But now we get to have much more personal conversations and get deeper into the weeds when it comes to conversations about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. So if you don't already follow us, please do. If you're following us and want to know how to support us, please share, retweet. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, tap that screen until your fingers go numb. It shows the algorithm that you like us and that we're worthy of being watched. That brings more people to the party. It's not about hitting numbers. We don't care if we have 1 million followers or not. Okay, I kind of care. I'd like to hit 1 million followers on TikTok. We're at 622,000-ish now. I got to say, I'd love to be at 1 million. But it doesn't change our day. It's just bragging rights. At the end of the day, if you're getting value, then we've done our job. And we used to go to trade shows, and we used to go to hit microphones. We used to go to trade shows. We used to go to schools. We used to go to community events, and we'd set up a booth, and we'd wait, and we'd speak to a few people. And throughout the day, a few people would come through, sometimes many people, and we'd have the same conversations repeatedly. What do we do now? We spend an hour Monday to Friday, hour a day Monday to Friday that's weekdays, and we talk to all of you at the same time. And then if you've got questions, you message us. We message you back. Sometimes we make video responses, DM messages. We're speaking to more people more efficiently and more economically than ever before. Thousands and thousands of people are getting the help and answers to the questions they have. So this is a very effective way for us. And I hope we get to keep doing this for a long, long time. If you're interested in asking questions, you can, we talked about doing it live, but maybe you don't want to do it live. Maybe go over to TikTok and join the Q&A section. You can actually leave us messages or comment in our videos. I try and respond to all of them. Doesn't always work. And is this the only thing I do? That's usually a follow-up question. No, I do a whole bunch of different things. This is but one of them. And it's possibly my favorite thing that I do, only because I don't ride motorcycle anymore. I used to be a motor squad officer, and that was my favorite thing to do as a police officer. Okay. Question for AZ drivers. Let me see. So, if I do my road test, will I be allowed to operate both manual and auto gears? I believe that whatever you test in is what you'll be. If you test in manual, I believe that you're manual and auto. I think if you're auto, you are only auto. I am not an AZ or commercial vehicle aficionado, but I recently had a conversation that was along these lines, and I can't give you a definitive answer, but I believe that if you test in auto, you're only qualified to drive auto. Maybe that's not accurate, but that's what the closest things to memory that I have is recently having a story about that. Let's see here. I don't think it's like that in any other vehicle though. Like cars, doesn't matter what your transmission is. Okay. What happens if someone hits a school bus, then runs away, and a few days later you find their plate? When you say hits a school bus, you mean drives into, has a collision, and then fails to remain? Well, if you get information as to who they were, you provide that to police. I'm assuming you would have reported the initial school bus collision, or if you were the driver, if you weren't the driver but you were a witness, call police and tell them that you have information related to it. Any way you find it, if you identify the vehicle that failed to remain in a collision, that is serious, so definitely report them. What are the charges? What are the changes if someone resists arrest? So if I'm in the process of arresting someone and they're fighting me and they're resisting arrest, they get charged with resist arrest. just an additional charge. Generally there's a reason we're arresting them, and then this is just an additional charge that gets looped in. If they're actively being assaultive, assault peace officer would be, or police officer would be an additional charge. But yeah, it's just one of the many that get tacked on. I don't know what else to tell you about that. What is this? Michael wants to know, in the late 2010s, I had here we go. I'll put it big on the screen. In the late 2010s, I had a phase in November, December of G-Class turning about you right in front of me, driving a truck. Luckily, no collisions. I had a phase, like a lot of people, or you were doing the turns, or somebody else was, no, you were the driving the truck. I can't get over how many people do stupid things in cars. I've watched amazing videos, and some of them were videos that I was tagged in by followers of our channel who show us what people do around their big rigs. I was invited, actually, I think the comment came out yesterday, invited to go for a drive in a dump truck to see what happens around their truck. And I think that's a great idea. If I can get clearance to do it, I'll totally do it. Because I cannot tell you how scary that is as a big truck, to see what people do, thinking that the truck A can stop and B can see them. I watch I drive a full-size truck, but I don't drive a dump truck. And I watch people zip in and out between large vehicles, large semis, as if they wouldn't get completely smushed in the event of oopsie-doo. Such a bad idea. Such a bad idea. Okay. What is the legal distance you need to be back from the stop sign on a bus when the driver has it out? I've read that somewhere. I don't normally care because normally it's just not an issue. You can't pass them. Maybe it's in relation to, hang on, we're going to look it up and see if we can find it. School bus. I think it's actually stop too close. I don't even know. I don't know. Improperly actuate, no, that's, so a school bus can't operate or open it up within 5 meters of a traffic control system. Improperly actuated school system within 60 meters of a location. So they can't be within 60 meters of a traffic control system. So what is that? There's two different charges that don't make sense. Okay, we're moving on. I'm not really looking at what the school bus driver does. I'm looking for 20 meters. Failed to stop at least 20 meters behind a school bus. There you have it. But if they put it out and you're already right behind them, that's different. So if you're approaching, you have to stop 20 meters. But if you're right behind them and they just happen to activate their stuff, that you're not going to get charged for not being 20 meters. Okay. A U-turn should be a lowercase. Okay. I don't know what Michael's getting at. Kick is a good platform, just like Twitch. I use both because certain streamers I follow, and it depends on the flavor of the day, who I want to watch and decide. Is there better quality? Is there any reason to be on one or the other? I'm curious. Okay. Okay, I need a new thing to say. I've said okay too many times. I don't know. Interesting here. Why do you put more effort into policing bikers than you do dangerous car drivers? Well, that's not accurate. If you mean why did I put out a whole bunch of stuff about motorcycles? Because it was a motorcycle safety blitz. We were actually going after anyone who's being dangerous, but with the focus on the discussion being about motorcycle riders because they are vulnerable road users. Now, it happens to be that there's a bunch of dum-dums who do dumb things on motorcycles. They choose to do that, and there's people who do dumb things in cars too. Dumb-dum's a new terminology that's very scientific, and it basically means anyone who is doing dangerous and illegal things on anything. I'm going to refer to them as dum-dums. Today, at least. I may have a new one for tomorrow. I think Fred Flintstone said dum-dums, or maybe it was the alien. Was it the alien that you said dum-dums? Either way, if it was in the children's cartoon, I think I'm okay to say it. So moving on, there's a lot of people doing bad things. Now, recently we had a video that is somewhere in the vicinity of 4 million views. So conversation's been a lot about motorcycles lately, and it's the season, right? But I'm no more interested in motorcycle enforcement than I am vehicle. In other words, I am interested in all enforcement when it deals to traffic violators because they bug me. It's not about breaking the law, it's just about annoying Sean. No, all seriousness. If you're breaking the law, we're interested in charging you. Simple as that. We want to take your license away if you break the law. That's why we give tickets. We give tickets to change behavior, and if you consistently and continuously break the law, the points should catch up to you and take your license away. It is so much easier to simply not break the law, to focus on safety, and get to where you're going and back home again every single day. That's the ultimate goal. We want people and communities not to suffer from the tragic losses suffered because of collisions, and there's no fun collision. Even minor ones change people's lives. Think about that. It's not just the person who gets hurt. Very often we hear from people who say, well, if I do something stupid and I die, who's it hurting besides me? A lot of people, from the emergency services personnel who have to respond and deal with you, whether you've died or you need help, from your families and loved ones and friends and employers. Everyone is impacted. Your neighborhood, your community, people will feel it. So it's not just about you, even if you're the only person who physically gets hurt as a result of dumb maneuvers. Okay, enough about dum-dums, at least for the time being. Do I need to get safety to put my license plates on a car I already own? If your vehicles are unplated, in order to get plates, you need a safety. Actually, wait, that's not necessarily true. If you haven't changed ownership, I think you're okay. So if you've purchased it but never plated it, you need to get it certified. If you've plated it and then removed the plates, I don't know if you need to get a safety again. Maybe. Generally speaking, it's when you transfer. But how many people transfer, remove plates from a car they own? Not very often. Not anymore anyway, because it's free. It's free to maintain the plates. So just you can put your car. You can take insurance off your vehicle if you're putting it in storage, or you can choose to have, fire and theft only, and leave it plated, because you can renew your plates, as far as I know, even if it's uninsured, even if it's in storage, as far as I know. And that's something that you can confirm with the ministry. But if your vehicle is plated, you just keep it's plated. You don't need a safety done again. It may only be during transfer. Boy, now I really want to know. Safety required. Is safety required? I get good questions. That's one I've never had before. I like the new ones. Okay. Good morning, Tim. How you doing? Does it cost anything to park your car in downtown Toronto? Is that a serious question? It costs, I think it costs, yeah. It's very expensive to park in Toronto. It's expensive to park. Street parking is not bad, but there's limitations as to where you can get it, if you can get it. If you're working downtown or going to school in downtown and you're paying for the day, yeah, I think that's quite pricey. This is where subways and coming downtown using, like a lot of people pay $5 a day. I don't know if it's still the same price. I used to park at Finch Station and take the subway down when I worked at headquarters, and I paid $5 a day. What a great deal. It would probably cost me $50 a day if I was parking in downtown Toronto. So definitely it's expensive to park downtown if you're paying commercial parking especially. Motorcycles, however, free parking at any Green P on-street parking, which is awesome. Definitely a bonus. If you ride a motorcycle, they're promoting the fact that it's a greener way of transporting yourself around. AJ, question. Here is my question. Okay, let's get into the question. How are you doing today? I'm doing well. And good work on the stream. Thank you very much. Always interesting and super informative. Keep up the great. That's your question? I'm doing great. No, I really appreciate the check-in, AJ. And sorry about your ribs again. Not that I did it, but sorry that it happened to you. But I am glad that you made it to the live stream. Speaking of live streams and timings and stuff and things, do you think that 10 o'clock is the best time that we could be doing this? We used to do it at 8 o'clock and then 9 o'clock, and now it's 10 o'clock. What time would be the best time for you to join? Would you prefer it to be earlier? Now, granted, everyone who's here today obviously thinks that this is not a bad time. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. But I'd really love to hear from people who would prefer it to be other times. I'd like to find out what the best time would be. Now, granted, I work from 6 a.m. till 2 p.m., so it's within the confines of my workday. A lot of people wanted an evening one. That's harder to do, but interesting discussion. 10 o'clock was one vote I'm seeing popping up in TikTok. Later the better from iDevon. Cool. Interesting. Okay, 6 p.m. from Harmony. See, I might be able to do that once in a while. Maybe once a week, do an evening one, do it remotely. Might be able to do that. All right. If you're watching and you've never thought about policing as a career, let's talk about this for a second. Now, not only police officers, but we have special constables. There's Aaron, the parking enforcement officer and cycling guru. We have all sorts of positions, and some that are not uniform. So yes, we're always looking for good people who want to put on a uniform and protect their communities and serve their communities, and it's a brilliant career. I really support it. I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm looking for there, I want to turn off my graphic. 1 second, because I feel like I'm blocked. There I am, I'm unblocked. So you can come up here and you can visit the channel, the website. They call it website, not channel. Boy, I got my streaming lingo all mishmushed. So here, tps.ca/careers. If you're interested in seeing what other jobs we have, special constable, not the same as a police officer. Similar in that it's uniform and it's going out and doing great things to serve the community, but it's just not the same. I was a special constable. I was a court officer when I started. We were in charge of courthouse security and prisoner transportation, but that is expanded now. We have special constables who do so much more, so much more. Great opportunity if police constable isn't right for you. Parking enforcement officer, communication operator. These are the people who are taking your calls when you call 911 and getting you the help that you need. And we need people to do that job just like we need people to wear a uniform and be police officers. Phenomenal careers. Civilian roles, I love talking about this because there's so many things that we do. We are like a city. We have jobs of all kinds. And you don't have to be a police officer or a uniform member to make and contribute to this city and the people who live here. You can be a senior writer at corporate communications. I don't know what that is, but you know who does? The people who wrote this description. You can look up all the details about this job and see if it's right for you. Issues and media advisor, lead social media, a developer digital team, benefits administrator, senior programmer, solutions architect, communications operator. These are jobs. They're not up here forever. They're up for a while. Here, digital developer team. You could be making $56 to $64.90 an hour. That's not a bad deal. 24-month contract, 35 hours. All sorts of opportunities. And what was the point of it, my posting this? June 30th. It was posted on the 12th, and it's available until June 30th. So if you're even considering it, go online, create an account for yourself, and put in an application. Because when they're gone, when they're filled, they're filled. That's it. That's my story. I've been with the service for 23 years. Is that right? Yeah, over 23 years. And I love it. It's a great place to work. It's a great family of people to be a part of. It's more than just a job. It's a career with many jobs. Started as a volunteer, as an auxiliary officer, which, by the way, they were hiring. I think that's closed now. Then I became a court officer, did that for many years. Became a sergeant with the auxiliary. Yeah, there's ranks with the volunteer program. Became a supervisor within courts. Great opportunity. I've learned so much. Then I became a police officer, went to 12 Division, then came to traffic services, worked in the motor squad, worked in the criminal investigation bureau. Now I work in media relations. You do so many things. You cannot be bored here. It's not allowed. It doesn't happen. Okay. So what am I getting out of this? What am I suggesting here? Check it out. You can be one of us. Now we'll get to that later. We got more questions to talk about. On a left turn at a signalized intersection. This is a chase question, so I know it's going to be a doozy. On a left turn at a signalized intersection, is there any violation if you stay behind the white line instead of creeping forward? So do you have to enter the intersection? No. In fact, entering the intersection, although it's an option, you're putting yourself in a situation where if you cannot complete that turn, if you're stuck in that intersection, you can be charged at that point. So staying behind the white line, waiting until there's somewhere for you to go, is perfectly legal and safe to do. Now, of course, there's the people who will say, and I personally will enter the intersection because charging that intersection, or it's almost like preparing your gun to be fired. You put a bullet in the chamber. By putting yourself in that left turn lane and performing an S-turn provides you an opportunity for proper visibility for oncoming traffic. So it's actually safer, in my opinion. And I imagine many others' opinions too. But just creeping forward and not making the S-turn and providing no additional visibility, are you really doing anything to benefit it? I don't know. Is there any special license plate for antique cars? Yes, there are classic cars, and then there's also number plates available based on year. More information about that you can Google on for classic car plates and historic car plates. I think your vehicle has to be over 30 years old to qualify. Can you pass a double solid line? Can you? Can you? Legally, there's nothing in the law that says you cannot go over a painted line. However, if there is a sign stating you cannot cross or you cannot pass on a solid line, the sign has authority, the line does not. So it is possible to be charged for crossing a double line if there's a sign present. If you look at HOV lanes, those are lines that you cannot cross. There are signs saying so. Interesting. Okay. Interesting Chase question as well. I covered it all. Okay. Chase has a question. If the 4 dots aren't on your license because the time just passed, is there something in your MWS, mobile workstation, that says you are good to supervise, or do you have to do the math manually at the roadside? I do not, because it'll say qualified to supervise, or there is an indication. So I will see it when I pull you over. I'll have a result that'll say that that you're good to go. But is it better not to take the chance? Because what if your math and my math or the ministry's math do not agree? They don't line up. Then you'd be the driver would be in a bit of doo-doo. Okay. Good day, sir. How are you today? I am doing very well. I did 30 minutes on a treadmill this morning, although it was walking. It was good. I got a sweat going on. I feel good. I have more energy. I don't know, maybe I just slept a lot over the weekend, but I feel good. Friday, I was not feeling good. I was kind of blah. And I said so because I just didn't feel, I was feeling blah. And today I feel hurrah, I think. Okay. Is straight piping illegal? Is straight piping still illegal, even though cars have different CO2 emissions? Your vehicle is required to have a muffler and a resonator. So if you remove those, then yeah, it's illegal. You have to have a proper muffler. It's not just about emissions. It's also about noise, smoke, noise and smoke. What else? Maybe there's more. End of the day, straight pipe, not legal. Now, if your vehicle was manufactured before emissions controls like mufflers and resonators were requirements, so if it was legal to be on the road the way it was, then it would be legal now. You'd be grandfathered. But if your vehicle came from the factory with those things, you cannot remove them. You can change them to other equal or better things, but you cannot just remove them. Lots of charges. So the drive improper muffler or no muffler, create unnecessary noise, or just unnecessary noise. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. Can you drive on a highway if you have a G2 alone? So if you are a G2 driver, can you operate a motor vehicle without a supervising driver? Yes, you're a G2 driver. You're a probationary driver. You can drive by yourself at any time of the day or night. And in any place, you can even go into the States. The only conditions are for the first year. The first 6 months, you can have no more than one person under the age of 20 in the motor vehicle with you who is not a member of your immediate family. And in the second 6 months of your first year driving, you can have up to 3 people in your motor vehicle under the age of 20. And it's between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m. Otherwise, 0 blood alcohol content and no other conditions. Not a donut person, eh? Could have swore I heard something about Krispy Kreme strawberry filled. Not strawberry. Okay, let's come clean about donuts. I love me some raspberry filled Krispy Kreme. That might be my favorite donut. But that does not make me a donut person. That makes me a Krispy Kreme raspberry, not strawberry, raspberry filled donut person. I do like them. But I do not anymore drive 100 or more miles to get them. So once upon a time, and for anyone watching who worked with me with court services at Thousand Finch, knows that if I worked an afternoon shift, I may have been compelled to get in my car, drive to the United States, which is the only place you could get Krispy Kreme at a time, buy a few dozen, then drive back and bring them to the folks at work, where I would at least have one, if not many. So yes, I do like that donut, but I couldn't tell you the last time I had a donut. It's not because I'm trying to lose weight. It's just because when I go to Tim Hortons or whichever coffee shop I attend, I don't have to have a donut or anything with the coffee. I need the coffee. The caffeine is mandatory. Other stuff is entirely maybe, and very rarely is it ever. And quite frankly, other than the Krispy Kreme raspberry filled, I'm not compelled to have any kind of donut. I'm just not a donut person. I've tried, and I do have my, if I'm going to have one because everyone's having one, and I'm going to, social donut, a social donut eater, then I would probably have a sour cream dipped, not dipped, it's covered in sugar. I guess it's dipped in sugar. What kind of donut would you have? Given the choices, and let's talk about Tim Hortons in particular. What is your donut choice? Yeah. I recently started to appreciate, I say recently, in the last 5-10 years, a cruller. I would have never thought I'd like a cruller. Honey cruller, is that what it's called? They're not bad. I hated those as kids. As a kid, I would not eat that. But I'm like, if there's only a cruller now, I'd eat the cruller. But even then, it's like, I have to be real hungry or social donut pressure. Let's see here. Chase, and so many people are thanking my wife. I assume she said she loves me, but she's there's discussions happening about it. And thank you very much to my wife for helping out by taking comments from TikTok and sharing them, because without, it makes it a little bit difficult. It makes it a lot difficult. Now, for anyone who's been watching for a long time, we've come a long way. The show was not a widescreen, full screen with lowers and whatnot. It was me staring into a phone for a long, long time. Things have changed, and actually things have changed in good timing. We actually switched to this format so that we could have everybody on the same place and share this with as many people as possible well in advance of, well, political stuff happening, which made using the TikTok application on our police phone not possible. So this is actually the only way we can go live right now, unless I were to do it on my personal phone, which using tons and tons of data doesn't sound like fun. But that's another story. Here's a question that's completely random and not to do with laws, but it is a police procedural question. Do police officers have to bring back their cars clean at the end of shift? We don't have to wash them necessarily at the end of shift. When I was an auxiliary officer, we started our day off by washing our car and then taking it out, and we would always bring it back clean. The inside of the car is going to be representative of who you are. So if you leave it a pigsty, that is gross, and the next person who takes it will likely take exception to that and likely make note of it, if not write you a nasty email. So do you have to wash the outside of it? No. But if it's dirty, you'd be expected to wash it when you took it out. So very often we're working right to the end of the shift and people don't have time. So the next person would start their shift by getting it washed. And we don't wash it by hand, so it's okay. Let's see here. So my wife is vouching for me. He actually doesn't eat them. I may ask to get them, and I never finish it, so he has to. Yes, I am a team player. Rather than wasting the donuts, I will consume the remnants left over. Okay. It is advised against lanes in the middle of an intersection. Is there anything HTA? Okay, let me break this down and translate it from the very super condensed. So the question is it there's a statement saying it's advised against changing lanes in the middle of an intersection, but is there anything against the law in the HTA? And no. There's nothing against the law about changing lanes in the middle of the intersection. I did grow up thinking that it was illegal, though. It's not illegal. We don't want you to do it because it's a high-risk environment. There are many people doing many things. People making right turns on reds, people who are coming out of driveways, people doing all sorts of things, expecting that you are going to do nothing different, no last-minute changes. So if you change last minute in the middle of the intersection, it's very, you increase your odds of collision dramatically. So who's going to be responsible? Well, anyone changing lanes is going to be in a fault position. It may not be solely at fault because the person making the right turn is also responsible for ensuring that they can complete their turn safely. So it's a bit of a cluster, and I would suggest against it unless it's absolutely unavoidable for safety's sake. Like if you're crossing through an intersection, it's not because you want to pass someone because they're going too slowly. You should be going slowly, or at the speed that's safe. But if someone, you're swerving to avoid a collision because something happened, that's a different story. Chase says he spends $350 a week on gas. Holy moly! But you drive all over Southern Ontario often. Doesn't help the prices or no kidding. I wish we were back at 50 cents a liter. This whole expensive gas, and that 50 cents. I remember less than 50 cents. Riding a motorcycle was like free to drive. Yeah, not anymore. Oh, Michael spends $0 a year on petrol. No kidding. That's a life I've never experienced that. I only commute through Scarborough. I prefer walking in the bus. I can stop for alcohol on Friday afternoon. I can use my phone as a passenger. Driving to work is boring in Metro Toronto. I was a quasi-commuter by train for a while. I tried many ways, and it didn't work for me. I live quite a ways away, and as a result, it is not for me. And where I work, there's no real convenient way to get to work. It added like an hour and a half to my day by taking the train, and that's an hour and a half that takes me away from my family. And that was just one way. An hour and a half one way it added. It was bad. Schedules and whatnot didn't work. I tried, but I'd love to be $0 a year on petrol. That sounds very exciting. Question: I broke my left foot. Did I say that right? Right foot. I broke my right foot. Is it illegal to drive in Ontario? Can't find. There's no law that says you cannot drive. If your doctor made a suggestion, know that that's going to be noted in your medical file. So if they say don't drive and you choose to drive, and then there's an investigation, not by police necessarily, but in the lawsuit when they try and sue you for everything you own, they'll probably ask for your medical records. And I don't know how that works. If you would be giving it to your insurance company, you would be releasing it to your insurance company. They would even have an issue potentially. But I'm not a lawyer and I don't do accident claims, and I just know that everything's written down, and that's not necessarily a good thing if they told you not to do it. Now, in terms of legality, if it's unsafe, if it's careless, if you had a giant cast on your foot, that could be a problem. It could be careless driving, and it's going to be up to the interpretation of the officer as to whether or not they lay charges. If you can drive safely with your left foot, if you only had a left foot, it wouldn't be illegal. But, depends. Maybe, possibly, anything could happen. New stream room equals old janitor closet jokes. What? I've never heard of this. This is a new stream room where? Is this something to watch, or are you saying we start one? Should update. The Grinch says I should update the about section. I don't even know where to update that on Kick. We'll definitely look at that after the show. Okay. If me and my dad have our own car, what is this? Okay. If my dad and I have our own cars, can I drive his even though I'm not insured on his car? If you both live in the same address, well, actually, regardless of whether or not you live in the same address, unless you are ruled out from driving his vehicle, like if they say that no one under the age of 25 or you're specifically named as, Bob can't drive this car, then no, with permission, you could swap cars. There'd be nothing wrong with that. Is it illegal to drive in between cars on a motorcycle? Yeah, it's called lane splitting. It is dangerous. We would charge you with careless driving, possibly stunt driving, depending on the speed differential. And if it was really dangerous, which is criminal, dangerous driving, which is criminal offense in Canada. So absolutely illegal. Absolutely, it is dangerous. Are you required to have a driver's license to drive in every province and territory? I can't speak to every province and territory. It's my understanding that yes, you must have a driver's license to drive a motor vehicle anywhere in the province. But I don't know about territories. I don't know what the rules are there. I would assume that you must. It would make sense that you must, but I cannot confirm 100%. Let's assume. We'll stick with assuming. What is the Typical lifespan of an officer's notebook in terms of days or weeks, and officers are allowed to make entries in their notebooks at the end of their shift. Notebooks are for writing as much or as little as you need to note. If you're verbose, it lasts less long. If you are very brief, it may last longer. If you are someone who, like I used to write everything when I was on the motorcycle, my entire collision reports were put on my book, and then I'd basically enter all the electronic stuff. So I'd burn through books like crazy. When it comes to someone, maybe who's more electronic, they may type everything and say attended scene, left scene, and reference the number, and all reports entered. It's really up to you. It's your stuff. So there's no specific. Now, in terms of making entries to the notebook at the end of the shift, you're expected to make entries into your notebook as soon as practicable. So if I'm dealing with a situation and it's not safe because I'm holding a shotgun pointed at a door, then I am not going to be making notes while that's happening. But once the buzz dies down and I have moments to collect, then I'm going to do that. Now the joy is that you have body cameras and all sorts of things that are recorded, and maybe one day we won't have notebooks at all because it'll all be first person recordings of everything. Wouldn't that be nice? For a question, now if you test on auto transmission, there's a restricted auto only. So this is an answer to the question. There's a restricted auto only. Manual is unrestricted, and 18 speed is the best. I have auto, just make it electric. Are we talking about big rigs now? You're answering the question? Oh, for a question. I think AZ question. I guess A is the A class. So there's your answer from Michael, who knows stuff and things about big rigs, but I do not. Other than I was under the impression that that's exactly correct. So there's an auto only. Cool. What happens if you have a cop? What happens if you install police emergency lights on a vehicle that is not a police vehicle? You get charged. You can be charged for impersonating a police officer. You can get charged for having red intermittent flashing lights on a car. There's all sorts of charges. It's bad. Don't do that. Now off-road, there's nothing wrong with it, but impersonating a police officer is a big problem. Do I have to do driving school to get my G2? You don't have to, but it's wise to, and it speeds up the process. So if you want to wait 12 months and do it all on your own and hope to pass, you can do your G2 from G1. Or if you want to do it in 8 months, get the accelerated version, take an improved driving course. Wow, I'm a half an hour behind in reading these. And by the way, for anyone watching, I'm going to burn through them, but we're not going to take any new questions now. It's 11:04. I should be shutting down the channel because I have to actually go drive to a military base. Yes. Which means I can't go for much longer, but I will try and quickly catch up on a bunch of questions. If you're watching and you'd like to know how to find us on other platforms, you can go to the trafficcop.ca, and we have fantastic links. I say we, it's really me. This is my link tree. On it, you will find links to all of our social media, all my personal social media. You'll get useful information like how to start a police report, how to start a collision report if you're the cyclist or pedestrian involved and you want to go to a collision reporting center, but you don't want to have to wait till you get there. It's a great opportunity. Renewing your license, driver's license check, riding e-bikes and electric e-kick scooters. These are resources that will explain everything to you. They are good, so use them. That's trafficcop.ca. All right. Can a motorcycle go through a red light from a complete stop not heavy enough? No. So if you get there and the light is not changing, you are not cleared to go through the intersection just because. You go make a right turn, then a U-turn where it's legal, go around the block, but no, you cannot just go through. Now, if no one's around in the middle of the night, will we catch you? That's a question that's up to you to decide. But technically and lawfully, you would be breaking the law if you made a turn when the light didn't work. Now, my suggestion, the way I used to do it when I was riding, is I would either do the right turn and the U-turn. I would even get off my bike and go press the walk signal button, which would then trigger the lights. If there was cars behind you, I would wave them to come closer so that I would get them close enough to trigger the sensor underneath. Some people put rare earth magnets under their vehicle, under their motorcycle, to try and trip the electromagnetic field. Okay. Well, this is a good question. Can you be fined for waiting to merge until the end of a lane ending? Please, please, please use the entire merge lane. The folks who choose to get into a merge lane and 8.5 seconds later stop and then push their way into a lane, causing a backup on the entire ramp, you're doing it wrong. Look up zipper merge. Please, please, please look up zipper merge. Go all the way down to the end, and like a zipper, that's where the crisscross of every other vehicle just works. It works so nicely. Look up zipper merge. What you're doing, or what you were asking to do, is absolutely the right way to merge. Okay. International students. I have my driver's license from the Philippines. How long can I use it in Ontario? If you are a student becoming a resident here, that's what happens when you're a student, you can use it for a maximum of 3 months. Now, specifically the Philippines, you'll need to confirm that you can use it here, that they'll credit you. You can go and find out what they can credit you for. If it's a full Philippine license, then you would be able to exchange or get some level of acceleration. But a foreign license, when you're a new resident, 3 months maximum, that is it. Other provinces, you can drive longer. If you're here for a year as a student, or if you're in Quebec for a year as a student, they'll let you, you're not a resident, you're a temporary student. But Ontario, you're considered a resident. How do you catch bikers with no plates? We make notes, we have video, we do all sorts of things to try and identify the vehicle and make it easy to build a case file on. But generally speaking, we walk up, turn off the plate, pull the key, and arrest them if they don't, depending on how it goes. Very often they go to arrest, but sometimes they just they stop at that point. They don't try and run, but it gets very messy very quickly. I don't know why anyone would hide their plates. Well, I do know, because they're up to no good. It's one of those dumb things. When people hide their plates to avoid detection by police, it escalates matters very quickly. But then we have to be more creative when going after those people. I'm not impressed by those people. Okay. License is a privilege, not a right. Absolutely. I see many drivers run stop signs in my hood. I have videos from my car dash. Can I submit? You can, if we have plates and information, and you're willing to be the witness on that. It's very possible that we could lay the charge. It doesn't always work. We don't always have enough information. We have to be able to identify the driver, and we have to be able to verify date, time, location, etc. In favor of one evening show a week. Appreciate the support and the vote. Chase. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, met the Indigenous Police Branch of the OPP on the weekend as my daughter is considering becoming an officer. Awesome. The Grinch, you were considering being an officer. It's not too late. Is Service Ontario still replacing license plates that are bubbling, fading, and peeling? If it is within 5 years, it's covered under warranty. If it's more, it may not be covered. Some B series plates are still being covered. Others are not. Really depends. Check with the Ministry of Transportation. If you go there and they tell you no, make sure that you're in an actual ministry location, an actual Service Ontario, because what you may not know is some of them are like franchises, and some of them just want to charge you $52 and move on, while others will cover it under warranty because they will. And I say this not to dig at the private businesses who want to charge the $52. I understand it's probably not free. They probably don't get paid for a warranty exchange, but I've had very positive responses from people who go to the actual locations, and I've had less favorable responses from some locations, not all. I have a very good relationship with my local location. Just saying. Can any officer in Canada give tickets in any province or just out of their own province? I am a police officer sworn in the province of Ontario. My policing powers end at the border of the province unless I'm sworn temporarily under the RCMP to work on special projects. So I would not be able to stop someone in another province. And truly, I do have police powers. I could stop a vehicle laying charges in a jurisdiction beyond one hop from mine. So I would be able to lay a charge in York Regional Police, or in a York Regional location, but beyond that or appeal, but I couldn't go to the next jurisdiction over that. The jurisdiction to the next over, I would either call a appeal officer or a police officer in that jurisdiction to handle the issuance of the ticket. But can I stop them? Yeah, I'm a police officer. If it's criminal, can I lay a charge and arrest someone anywhere in the province of Ontario? Yes, I can. Can the RCMP stop or charge someone anywhere, specific criminal, anywhere in Canada? They can. They can't lay charges under the HTA in Ontario unless they've been specifically, there's some specific magic abracadabra stuff they do to be able to do it here because they don't necessarily have training here. Michael says, any evening, voters have the YouTube replay, and we should be more active on Discord for 7. Yes, Discord is one of those things that I have many, many plans and not enough time. But Discord is a great opportunity, and I'd like to be able to get into some group chats and voice calls like I used to do years ago on Discord. But then Discord sort of, we went over to what was that other app that I loved that is no longer here, that I've already blocked from my mind? Very sad. That was really making life easy. But Discord is something that we will reorganize and do more on. I saw a biker in live lanes of Lakeshore. If seen by police officer, would he get? You mean a cyclist, a bicycle rider, not a motorcyclist? They're allowed to be in the bike lanes if they can maintain speed, or if it's unsafe to be at the right side. That's not illegal. I need to know more. I'm not sure I'm understanding your question. Are there any seatbelt law exemptions? There are. You can get a letter from your doctor to be exempt. If there's also exemptions for couriers making frequent stops in the act of delivery, that they could, if they're maintaining speeds under 40 kilometers an hour and making constant stops, they can not wear a seatbelt. But seatbelts are really good for like protecting you in the event of a collision, even a low speed one. I would always wear it. Okay. What constitutes running a red light? Where does the vehicle position need to be? Running a red light means crossing over the white line after the light's red. Equally, you cannot cross the white line after a yellow light unless it's unsafe to otherwise stop. Yeah, stop unless otherwise safe to do so. So, unsafe to do so. Yeah, wording in my head. If you cross the line, you've broken the law. That is considered entering the intersection. Anyone with a license, including M1, G1, can drive on highways, but level 1, what is this? Highway, so Michael makes a good point. A highway is any road in Ontario, but yes, controlled access motorway or expressway is where M1 and G1 are restricted from driving because the speeds are over 80 kilometers an hour. The Grinch says, my father-in-law, retired officer, never liked donuts either, said he preferred bagels. I told him that's just a baked donut. I like that. The deal with the donuts are heavy, dude, but I grew up on donuts. That was very much a household staple. But I'm not an everyday donut or bagel person. I'll take a bagel or leave a bagel. Mind you, I like fresh Montreal-style bagels. Okay. If we're in a turning lane, a dedicated turning lane, do we need to use a flash indicator? Yeah. The law says you must indicate your turns or changes of or moves. It doesn't say that you have to be in a particular lane. Boston cream, then sour cream glaze for sure. I'm glad we're now caught up to donut discussion. That is like 20 minutes old, but I'm going as fast as I can. Boston, I've never been a Boston cream person. Can't do it, cannot, no. But sour cream I can do. When I could eat donuts, I would eat maple walnut crunch. Maple walnut. I can't say I've ever had a maple walnut crunch. I don't think I've ever had one. I don't even know if I've ever seen one. That nerd dad says chocolate dip, classic, and maple dip. I will say that I appreciate those. What I don't appreciate, which I absolutely can't stand, is when they're stuck to the bag. Why? It's sacrilege. It's not okay. So there are donut faux pas, and I can't. If it's in a box, it's okay. But you get a bag, they just ruin the donut. I don't want the donut if it's ruined. It has to be a perfect donut. I don't care if my peas and corn and my potatoes touch, but you cannot take the chocolate off a dipped donut. That just is not okay. I draw the line. Do officers typically share the same car from one shift to another? We have a lot of cars. We have a lot of officers. There's no, that's my car. We may have a preference, but it rarely works out that way. Here's a good question, and I think I saw it yesterday. My understanding is that people over the age of 14 need to ride their bike on the road, but what if I'm riding with my kids who are under 14? There's no exemption, and it is actually 14-year-olds need to be on the road. 13-year-olds can ride on the sidewalk. In the city of Toronto, every city has different bylaws. Every municipality has different bylaws, so you need to check to find out. A lot of people would just say they'll eat the ticket. You know, it's going to be an individual process. It's not lawful, but it's understandable if you're trying to care for your children, so I get it. But by letter of law, you cannot be on the sidewalk at all. And now that's an issue, right? I totally get it. 13-year-old on the sidewalk, 14-year-old on the road. And a lot of people just don't want to be on the road at all. And I totally get why there'd be a want to be in the on the sidewalk. It's safer. And the problem is it's not safer for pedestrians. And that's really where the issue lies. Pedestrians need a place to be safe. Oh, Stephen Bell went to check the link in the bio to check to see if his license was valid, and sure enough, it was. If you're going to loan your vehicle to somebody, you want to make sure they have a license, because if they don't, you're responsible and you can get charged. So the deal is, make sure you check. Use the link at trafficcop.ca and check the status of your license or the status of the license of the person you're going to lend your vehicle to ensure they're actually licensed. Okay, we talked about this earlier. Hey, what's happening to Zombie? Good morning, happy Monday. The Grinch says he spends $200 a week on gas. Oh, you're spending more than me. That's a lot of gas. Petrol sounds too darn British. I like petrol, and I don't say aluminium. That messes with me. But jumpa. There's a lot of British and Aussie terms that I quite like. Sport ute. It's okay. The boot. Yeah. No, I can't say the boot. The boot doesn't make sense. The bin works. Trash can or the bin. Bin works. Anyway. We talked about this earlier, but we can hit it again. If behind the line on a left turn lane and wait till the light goes yellow to red and U-turn, is that... Oh, we didn't talk about this. So here's the deal. U-turns at intersections, you must wait. It must be green. You can't wait till it's red. If you're in the intersection and you finish in the yellow, you have to exit the intersection on the yellow is one thing. But you should not be waiting till it's red. You're now interfering with traffic. You should complete your stuff before it's red. You shouldn't be hanging out in the intersection just voluntarily, unless I'm not picking up what you're putting down. If you're saying you're just hanging out in the intersection until it's yellow and red, you have an obligation to exit that intersection as quickly as possible. And could someone issue a ticket for it? Yeah. And obviously the U-turn must be done where it's safe and legal and without signs prohibiting it. Oh my goodness. Adam says I was spending $1,000 a month. Okay, $250 a week on an STI, a Subi. That's a lot of money for that to run that set of wheels. That must have been very. And it's a high performance turbo vehicle, but that's a lot of money on gas, especially if you have a lead foot. How has it been being a traffic officer in Toronto these days? I love being a traffic officer. I miss being on the road, but I love being a traffic officer. These days or any days, it's a great place to work, and it's an important career. Traffic is something that people just don't. I don't think people, and even many police officers, don't appreciate the importance of the work being done in traffic. It's a big deal, and many people don't see it. They want to be like your classic television investigator cop. Well, it's not like television. We deal with more death and destruction than the average cop does, because we go to every scene where someone's being severely injured, and yeah. What's this question? Dad joke. My wife said I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward. I've heard that one. It's actually a good one. We have a bunch of. We try to do dad jokes at the end of every show. This has become a 1.5 hour show today for whatever reason. Boy, this gym stuff works out well, but I do have to get out of here. I bought a car. How do I get it home with no insurance and no plates? Call a tow truck. You cannot drive a vehicle without insurance on the road. You're looking at $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail if you're pulled over. Not to mention if you get involved in a collision. Bad day at the office. In terms of no plates, if you have plates that are unattached status but valid, you can put them on for up to 6 days, but you need the insurance. Best thing to do, in my opinion, is either tow it, and which obviously costs money, or have them complete the deal at your home, or at a dealership, or a mechanic's, or at the ministry location where you can just walk in and transfer the plates then and there. But you always need to call your insurance company. And they record their lines, so if you say, "Oh yeah, I called them," I've heard that before, and then I've charged them with no insurance and convicted them. Well, prosecution convicted them, but we got a conviction because they didn't have insurance. They claimed they did, but then I called the people from the insurance company and say, "Hey, can you come testify?" And they come and they bring the recordings, and the person said, "I've had so many people make up such crap." I'm not saying you would, but just saying. If you identify as a dog, can I get away with not wearing a seatbelt? Right. You know what? I could not say anything for certain, but I'm going to assume that your canine tendencies would not work. In fact, if you're traveling with an animal in the car, they should be tethered, aka wearing a seatbelt of sorts. Even though it's not lawful or a legal requirement, it really is the best thing you can do for their safety and yours. Can you get pulled over for driving someone else's car without proof of the person that owns it? Proof of permission? That's different. You need to have the ownership documents or a copy thereof. You need to have insurance documents. And if you get pulled over and can't provide that, you get the ticket. And each one is $110. Well, $110 for the ownership and $65 for the proof of insurance. What is the main platform for the stream? This is a good question. Now, this is TikTok that's asking the question. Forever, ever, it was TikTok. TikTok was our biggest place. And now we we rebroadcast on multiple platforms. So we're on, I'll throw it on the screen because we're on all of them. And we use something called Restream to essentially duplicate the stream, to rebroadcast it on multiple platforms. But we're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter. But our biggest audience has always been on TikTok. So we very much want to stay true and make sure we're always serving that community. And let's see here. Am I coming to base Borden? No, I'm not going to Borden. I'm going to Battle School. Let's see here. Is Sean going to Fort? No, I don't know where that fort is. Dad joke. To the person who stole my bed, I won't rest until I find you. Zombie, you got good jokes. Let's see here. Who's waiting? Oh, it's Giancarlo. Okay. I'm still on the air. I should not be on the air, but I'm still on the air because there's a ton of stuff here, and I want to try and get to everybody. It really is because it's such a big deal to help. And that's what our goal is. Whenever I can stretch an episode a little longer and try and get through all the questions, I really try to. But it doesn't always work. We have lots of things to do here, and it's only when I can that I go along. My dad once told me that if I wanted to make a difference in the world, I should put my money where my mouth is. He was right. I can really taste the change. That's not bad, actually. My friend asked me to make a donation to the neighborhood pool. I gave them a glass of water. Where do Volkswagen cars go when they get old? The old Volks home. It's not bad. Have I told you my story about screws, nuts, and bolts? Most people say it's riveting. It's not bad. This is actually the best jokes in a row that I've read. Let's see here. Scrolling through, trying to catch up. I thought the dryer was shrinking my clothes. Turns out it was the refrigerator all along. I don't get it. Uh, what do you call what do you call a factory that makes okay products? A satisfactory. Okay. You can get insurance over the phone and email print the phone application. Yeah, you can provide insurance electronically if the insurance provider that you are with provides an app. It's not a PDF, it's an app. It has to be secured and it has to be possible to send to the police. You should make a law about animals wearing seatbelts. I think it really should be. There certainly are laws preventing you from having an animal on your lap, careless driving, or it could also be drive while crowded. It's just a bad idea. They become furry projectile missile type things in the event of a collision. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. Fort Z. Apparently that was a video game reference. Cool. All right, I have caught up, and that is it. That is our show for today. Thank you to everyone who's watching or watched or spent time with us. It was awesome. And for anyone who, after 11 o'clock, didn't get any attention on TikTok, my apologies. The hour that we borrowed, actually, no, I see my wife is still active in the chat, but we try and cut it off at 11 o'clock for new questions, just because it would just never end. We are talking about having a new driver safety episode. I'm going to talk to Scott Marshall, the safe driver, and we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Whether it's with him or with not, I'll probably leave him to later in the week so we can make sure we can promote it properly. And then, what else was I going to say? I don't know. But we're going to do this traffic safety song, the traffic song. It's an awesome song, written and performed by a police officer right here in this building. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Take care.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
Okay, now I understand the joke. That was my bad. That's a better joke than I thought. And for the Grinch, well, Leo Wife says have a safe day. On behalf of Akela Draconis, don't have a good day, have a great day. And from the Grinch, have a great day and be well. Actually, he acknowledges my wife too. Be well, which is a reference from a movie which you may or may not remember. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow at 10.